Hi folks, I'm Rod Thompson and this is What's Left. Thanks for staying with us for the next few enlightening moments, and I think you'll find this interesting even if you disagree with it. As we all know, the poor are lazy. We're told that every day, aren't we? It makes us feel good about ourselves. We know that people are poor because they want to be poor. That's what we've been told all our lives. Today we're going to have an interesting interview, I think, with a couple of people that might shed a new light on that. First, let's talk to Abigail P. Forswanger. Abigail is the wife of one of the most successful business magnates here in Nashville. Mr. Forswanger owns quite an empire. Hello, Abigail. How you doing?
Hello, Rodney. Good to see you.
I'm here to ask you a few questions, and I'd like to start by just asking you what you think about the poor.
Well, Rodney, as you know, the poor are lazy, not really because of their own fault, but because they just don't know any better. They sit around all day with the government checks, pooping out babies, expecting the rest of us to take care of them.
Okay, well, let me ask you, let me stop and go back just a little bit. I want to find out a little bit about your background. You mind doing that for me?
Why, yes, of course, I'm at your service.
Well, tell me what your husband does.
Does? What he does? Why, Rodney, I thought you know my husband is independently wealthy.
Okay, but how did he make his millions?
Well, Rodney, that's easy to answer. He inherited the wealth from his wonderful great family, like many other great millionaires here in America.
Well, you must be very proud.
Indeed I am.
Okay, but all of that happened before your husband was born. What does your husband do now?
What he does. Well, Rodney, he's very busy, as you know. Jets around. He does a lot of business while playing golf, eats delicious meals, plays more golf and does more business, sits at big, vast meetings with lots of people in them. He's a very important man, you know.
I think I get it. So he makes business deals and owns a lot of businesses. That's what I thought you were going to say, because I found one of his business. It's a plumbing business here locally, and I happened to it by accident. My wife called a plumbing agency and asked a guy to come over and fix our garbage disposal, and that's how I met your employee, John Septic.
Well, I have no idea who he is, but if you say he works for us, so be it.
Well, here he is, as a matter of fact. Hi, John. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
You just hurry on up, but I got to get back to work.
Well, I was wondering if you make a good living as a plumber. I understand that there was a day in America where plumbers made a really good living.
Well, that's true if you own your own business, but you know, most plumbers, they don't own their own business. I work for about $13 an hour.
Really? Well, looking at my bill, the labor cost on my bill is $180. And if you made, that's for 3 hours, and if you made $13 an hour, that's $39. So out of that $180 that I was charged for labor, you only got $39, is that right?
Well, yeah, that's right.
You know, my wife tells me that you had kind of a hard time getting that fixed, and that's why it took so long. You had to go underneath the crawl space. There were some wires that were wrong. You almost got electrocuted. You got all scraped up and sweaty, and you were filthy by the time you finished. You worked pretty hard on that job, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I cut my hands quite a bit when I'm up underneath there. You know, it's kind of sharp edges everywhere underneath the crawl space. You can't see what you're doing. You get pretty filthy dirty too, and dang, it's hot.
And I also understand you have a wife and 3 kids. Is that right?
Yeah, 3 kids.
And your wife works nights as a maid and works weekends. And between the two of you, you barely get by. In fact, you can't even afford cable. Is that right?
What's your point?
Well, some people would refer to you as the working poor. You know, you work for a large corporation, and plumbers usually make a lot more money than that. And they're taking a big chunk of change home every time you do a little bit of work for them.
Hey, man, I need this job. We just got off welfare last month when Sandy got her job.
Well, John, how do you feel about unions?
Hold on there. I ain't no member of no union. Mr. Forswanger don't allow that. Now, you don't need them troublemakers coming in our business. Everything works just fine right now until you started stirring things up.
Well, you know, a lot of guys like you make over $40 an hour, even though they work for a big corporation. And it's your right to unionize in the company that you work for right now. The government makes it possible for you to do that. How do you feel about that?
Well, the government is the problem. Ain't you been watching Fox News? Don't you listen to Ronald Reagan, by God? Don't you know that anything that the business does is okay and regulation's bad and government's terrible? It takes my freedoms away.
And folks, there you have it. That's the whole thing in a nutshell. The very people who benefit most from government regulation, unions, and all the things that made us prosperous in the 50s and 60s are foursquare against it because they've been watching that there Fox News and getting the no spin right off the no spin zone. Folks, that's where America is today. Isn't it time we start looking for the answers that worked, that always worked in our past? This is Rod Thompson. That's what's left.